So, Mr. Eddie Hearn, I had a couple of takeaways from yesterday's undercard press conference. First of all, Liverpool got far too much respect on that stage, and I'm disappointed in you.
I know.
And
Obviously Adam Smith, massive Liverpool fan, and Callum Smith, that's allowed. But yeah, it's a big weekend for Liverpool. Obviously if
it's a bigger weekend for Tottenham.
Yes. But I'm interested to watch that game. And if you're in the UK, you watch the game and you flick straight over to Sky Sports box office, and you watch a huge fight card.
Secondly, Katie hasn't watched her own movie,
I know.
which for me the biggest question
I
was...
was like, if I had a movie made on me, how many times would I watch that movie? I mean, the spread's like 80 to 100 or something like that.
I was going to ask if, who would play you? Leonardo, Brad Pitt?
Obviously someone extremely handsome. Connor, maybe. You'd have to tone down the accent, But it is funny, like I said, that he hasn't actually, she hasn't watched the movie because it's on her life. I mean, she was in it, obviously. So it's just that's her, isn't it? She's almost a bit embarrassed that there's even been a movie made. She doesn't really know what all the fuss is about. So that's... Some people have been asking me this week, if Katie did more, if she was more outgoing, if she was more controversial, do you think she'd be a bigger star? I'm like, yeah, but I think the beauty of Katie Taylor is that she is like that.
I completely agree.
She's unassuming, she's so driven, she's shy. Like I said to her yesterday, she shook my hand on the stage, I went, well done. She's like, I went, how do you do that? She's like, what? I said, you shake my hand like a mouse, and when the bell goes, you're a fucking animal, And she just laughed, and it's a really interesting situation.
I think with Katie, she's about to fight for this undisputed title, and she even said at the press conference, this is what boxing needs. Yeah. As a man who's experienced with undisputed titles not necessarily coming together all that easy, is it refreshing to have someone who's finally going to get that chance?
It is, and actually women's boxing is really refreshing right now because a lot of the fights are straight undisputed fights or unification fights. Obviously the money's a lot different, so you can pay more money for an undisputed fight and it will go down well. The women's seem less driven by the money and more driven by the legacy, which is really refreshing. And Katie especially, I mean, she's making great money, but honestly, if she was making half the money, she'd still be up there doing it. So
I think she even said in an interview she'd have taken this one for free, but she didn't want you to know that.
She tells me. So no, she's so refreshing. And listen, she deserves to be making a lot of money. She's the biggest star in women's boxing, bar none. And good luck to her.
On to the topics that you've been asked about 3,000 times this week. Wilder, he signed that fight announced he signed this fight with Ortiz. Do you think he did that deliberately because if Joshua called him out and then he announced it, he looks worse?
Yeah, I don't think he signed anything, to be honest with you. I just think Joshua went on ESPN and said, that's the only fight I want after Ruiz. I'm here in New York next week. We should get together, man to man, and get this done. He announced his fight 2 hours later. He didn't want the pressure of this week, all the questions, and of course in the ring afterwards, the big call out, putting it on him. So what he did was he ducked out, he took the easy way out and said, no, I've got another fight scheduled, so this will happen, don't worry, but we'll talk later. So very disappointing, but as expected.
Is it nice to look at those Twitter comments with the duck emoji and stuff?
Joshua had a lot of stick, and Joshua would never duck Wilder in a million years. People don't realise how hard we've tried to make that fight, and now everyone's seeing the truth, which is the only pleasing thing about it, is that we don't get any stick anymore, and I see on his social feed it's just relentless stick. So everyone knows that he should be making this fight, and no one really wants to see the Ortiz fight. It's not a bad fight, but he just knocked him out. Why would you fight him for like a third of the money when you could fight Joshua for the undisputed championship?
And it's not a fight without risk either.
No, but I think Ortiz is a good fighter, getting on a bit now, and we don't know the effects of what the Wilder fight had on him. Still a good fight, just not the one everyone wants.
Earlier this week at the open workouts, I said to you, Tyson. Earlier this week I said to you, Tyson Fury said he wants a Dillian Whyte fight, but a lot of times he says things that don't come true.
You were right.
Just say that again, please.
You were right.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, so what are your,
First, don't waste our time. Since he came out and asked for that fight, we've been working on that with the WBC. They've approved it. They're about to order it, and now he says, no, actually, I don't want it. It's frustrating. So Dillian, hopefully he beats Rivas. He should become mandatory for Wilder, and that's the way we'll have to box him in.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate it.